What's up, everybody? Tommy here, Math Productions, and good news, everyone! I found out that since I normally remote play from my Xbox, all the mods that I have for my current load order, they're like actually downloaded and saved locally on the Xbox itself. So I tested out, since obviously I already play on my phone anyway, instead of going to the Xbox app for remote play, I went to the Gamepass app and just launched the game from there. And since the accounts are the same, I still have access to my console-based save files and my bookmarks, but none of the actual mods are set, so I can concurrently run our current modded playthrough series, see that through, but at the same time, I can play around on just Game Pass directly, and I can do a completely separate load order instead of mods, and I can change those out way easier without completely breaking the continuity of the playthrough that I have going. So awesome stuff, right? So I wanted to start out with this because I have no mods downloaded, just showing you the very, very basics, the steps that I recommend and encourage for anybody that's looking to play with mods in their Starfield game. So the first step, I've mentioned already the idea, but it's bookmark. Bookmark all of the mods that you know you want to play, that you think you might want to play, that just really seem cool or interesting to you. It's going to be way, way easier to find those mods again, whether you're having to reset your load order, if you're trying to test it out with some different changes, whatever the reason may be. Again, it's going to be vastly simpler if you just bookmark all of the mods that you may or may not want to find again, but that are cool enough that you potentially could, right? So I looked through my bookmarked mods. The only one that I stopped on, well, I stopped on a couple, I guess, but I stopped on the Starfield community patch, and I highly encourage the community patch if you're going to use any sort of overall patch, if you will, like that. There's two main ones. I'm only talking about the one that I use. It's, again, though, not an individual user. It's the actual community contributing together, and I'm all for that. So I downloaded that one. I wanted to just use a couple handfuls at most of mods for this initial display of how I kind of put it together, how I put the load order together. But I wanted to touch on some different aspects of play. So we did the community patch. We did lore accurate traits and backgrounds, because that's going to impact our ability to create our player, right? And we also went with another SKK fast start mod. This one's been super cool looking to me since it came out. It's been out for a little while now, and I'm going to play around with it here initially, at least for a little bit. You get to start as the Crimson Fleet, so you don't have to start out in any aspect tied to the main storyline right from the jump. You can completely change up how you role play in your game and start out immediately with the Crimson Fleet, a set of armor and equipment for the fleet, a ship for the fleet. Super cool mod. I'm definitely enjoying it in the brief amount of time I've experienced it, and I already encourage it for anybody that wants to just play a pirate, just play a scoundrel, anything like that. This is the alternate start mod. If you, I don't even want to say that though, because it doesn't change anything about the script of the game. It just changes where you start and some quests that are automatically completed or not. But I digress anyway. So we added in this mod here, and then of course we had to add in a new mod for a different type of Rev 8. Looks super cool. It's Star Wars based. I'm definitely going to be showing off Star Wars mods with the ability to have two different load orders going. That'll come, right? But what I did then is I started a new game because I wanted to show off the mods in play, but I am going to double back to what I showed on screen, and it was how I loaded those specific mods in my load order. I'll bring that back up now. And what you're going to end up seeing is we put the community patch first. It's the groundwork, the foundation. I'm going to put this cheat terminal that I downloaded so I can get credits for the land vehicle up at the top, because if anything's going to fail, I want it to fail after the cheat terminal. That's if I'm using the cheat terminal. Then we went with the things that impact our player character at player character creation. And then we finished out with a skin for a component of the game, an asset of the game. And the very last thing, because again, it doesn't touch anything to do with the script of the game, just where you start. We have the SKK fast start at the very bottom, rounding out this initial load order. It's ranking the priorities of what the mods are doing, is the most important thing that I've found in making sure that the load order works the way it should. What I will asterisk and say I have not figured out is some of the lesser priority categories. I don't know if amongst those, if there's going to be any sort of real impact or differential between where those are placed. That's kind of the whole point of being so happy about this ability through Gamepass and being able to test out just entirely different mod lists every single time I log in if I wanted to. We might be able to actually hammer down what is going to be most important to the game itself. And what I'm talking about there is, again, like when we get through with the mods that impact the way the game plays, when it starts to become about things like aesthetics, taking assets in the game that are already in the game, but just making them accessible for the players and their outposts or whatever, whether it be skins for mods and skins for weapons and armor and things of that nature. Those don't truly change anything about how the game works. It just changes how the game presents itself to the player. Those, in my opinion, are not important to the game, or I wouldn't assume that they're important to the game. So those I put lower in my load order than things that truly impact the way that the game plays. Like this speeder, right? This is super cool. Star Wars based, so if you're into the Star Wars mods, if you're wanting to play Starfield like Star Wars, this is super, super cool. But it doesn't actually change the way the game plays. It's literally just a skin over an existing object. So that's why I put it at the bottom of the load order, because in regards to how the game is actually going to boot up, run, execute, and perform for me, a skin doesn't impact those things, or at least it shouldn't. In theory, in my theory, right? Let me know in the comments down below if you think my theory has any merit, or if you think I'm just spitballing in the dark. I have no idea, really. Again, I'm just guessing and checking and figuring this out as we go. So I'm all for any sort of input or information that you might have through your experiences in setting up your load order. Again, let us know in the comments what your experience has been. See if we can kind of maybe work collaboratively towards really hammering out a clear set of rules for putting together load orders in regards to what things you should prioritize and place where. Because I think a lot of people would really, really appreciate that, right? I don't think that just one person is going to be able to assume everything, test everything, and definitively put out anything that's clearly the right way, right, quote unquote. I think it's going to end up having to be a collaborative effort in figuring that out. So I'm definitely doing my part. I am figuring out right now these things don't actually take collision damage. So where I had assumed prior that running into stuff takes damage, it definitely does not. So they can then, my new hypothesis, NPCs, whatever, they can shoot the player if the player's inside the vehicle, but I don't think collision damage actually does anything to either the vehicle or the player. But yeah, so I hope that this load order video has helped. I hope that you guys understand a little bit more about where I'm coming from, at least, whenever I'm putting together my load order. And again, we're going to keep testing this thing out a ton. We're going to show off a whole bunch of mods, and hopefully at the end, we'll figure out the best way to do it. So take care till then.